Okay, everybody, just wanted to put up a very short video tonight on your next homework assignment on Middle America. A couple of things I want to mention from the first assignment that I noticed just looking through the answers to some of the questions. Mostly there were two questions that several people kind of got wrong, and I want to point out why it's important to look at maps for what they are and look at the information on maps. As we've gone over before, maps are an interpretive tool. So you need to think about what you're getting from a map or what information that map is trying to convey to the user. And sometimes that might be a very specific thing, or sometimes there might be a whole lot of things on the map and you can kind of pick and choose what types of information that you want to get out of that. So the first question was that several people were getting wrong was the question about Quebec, Canada, in which U.S. state it had the closest relationship to with regards to commerce or just a general relationship. A lot of people put Maine for the answer on that question, and the answer was actually New York. And I kind of thought about it, why are so many people putting Maine? And it looks pretty obvious. Let's zoom in here a little bit, and we can see here's Maine in the United States, here's New York, and here is Quebec, the province of Quebec. And you have Quebec City, you have Montreal, which is the largest city in Quebec. So when we look at this map, it sort of tells us a couple of things. One is, if you look at the map, the longest common border is correct, it's Maine. That's a longer border, so initially I could see why somebody would think, okay, well that answer might be Maine. But if you look a little closer, first of all, the largest city is Montreal, and it's located down here right next to the border of New York. Here's New York State right here. So New York is here. Another thing you can look at is not only you have the largest city here with the biggest population in this province, but as we zoom in a little bit, you're going to see a lot more roadways and access across the border here. As we move up to Maine, I'll zoom out just a little bit, you see there are very few roads up here in Maine actually going to the border, and the two biggest ones that I see that do actually stop at the border. So that should tell you that even though the border is longer with Maine, it's probably not as close with regards to commerce and people traveling back and forth than New York would be down here, which again, you have the largest city and you have a lot more roadways and modes of travel, border crossings, things of that nature. So I wanted to hit on that first, that question. So be sure you look at the scope of what the map is actually telling you and what information you're trying to glean from the map. Another question that we had was about the rain shadow and what U.S. region was most affected by the rain shadow of the Rocky Mountain or the western United States. And several people put the Rocky Mountain region was most affected. And that answer is actually incorrect. Now, what is correct is the Rocky Mountains actually cause the rain shadow effect to happen, but that region is not the most affected by it. If we look at the map of the U.S. right here, you can see basically this is the Rocky Mountains where my pointer is going right now. So the Rocky Mountains go north to south along the total length of north-south United States. So if you look in the Rocky Mountains, look to the side that would have the rain shadow effect, which means weather systems in the United States move from west to east. So the weather systems are moving in this direction. So when they get to the mountains, you're going to have that rain shadow effect. And I'm going to jump over here to a diagram. This diagram is showing you the rain shadow effect, excuse me. So since it's coming from west to east, you see the precipitation and clouds move over west of the Rocky Mountains. They'll dump their precipitation both because it's more prevalent and because of the uplift of the mountains. As the air goes up and over the mountains, it releases all of its precipitation on the western side of the mountains. And then as it descends the other side, the eastern side, there's not as much moisture in that air mass, therefore it doesn't rain as much on the other side. So that's what the rain shadow effect is. So while the Rocky Mountains are causing this rain shadow, the actual area to the east of that is affected the most is actually the Great Plains. And if you look right here, this is the Great Plains, this whole area right here. And as you can see, this line of mountains, you can see it's intermingled with the dry conditions of less moisture. And as you slowly go to the east, it slowly turns more green. Now this is a vegetation map, so that brown is representing areas that do not have a lot of vegetation. So that's why the answer to that question was actually the Great Plains and not the Rocky Mountain region. You can see the western side of the mountains here have more trees. You can see they're more green on the western side of the mountains. So just wanted to touch on those two questions from your first assignment. So the next assignment, it's going to be the exact same Google Earth assignment. This time it's going to be for Middle America, which Middle America is basically Mexico, Central America, this is Panama, so that ends here, and then the Caribbean, all the Caribbean islands. That's considered Middle America. So be sure for this next assignment you choose the location within that realm, within Middle America. One thing I do ask you to do from this point forward that I failed to ask you to do in the first one, which is quite all right. Some of you got experience using minutes and seconds, but I want us all to start using decimal degrees. So if you look at the bottom of my page right here, mine is already in decimal degrees. It's moving because I'm moving the cursor so the numbers are changing. But you can see it's in straight decimal degrees. So up here around Kentucky, you've got latitude is 35.989, longitude is negative 84.9. So what I want you to do is change your readings. If they're already not in decimal degrees, I want you to change them to decimal degrees. So how we do this in Google Earth is you go over here to Tools in the upper left-hand corner. You click on Tools, and you go all the way to the bottom of the list that appears to Options. Click on Options, and you can see right here it says Show Latitude and Longitude, and then it asks you how do you want to see that? What reading do you want to see? So I have decimal degrees placed here. So if I want degrees, minutes, and seconds, kind of the old school way to do this, I click that, click Apply, hit OK, and now you can see it's reading in degrees, minutes, and seconds, and not decimal degrees. So we want the opposite, so we'll go back up here to Options, go back, and click decimal degrees. And then hit Apply, OK, and it's back into decimal degrees right now. So I just wanted to point that out, how to do that with you all. Again, we'll work through our next assignment like this. I'm still kind of working through if I want to do this as a peer review or not. We're not going to do it this time. It's just going to be in your assignment again. Most of you did an excellent job in your assignment. So we're going to start traveling around the world now. So if you haven't been out of the United States very much, maybe pick a spot you want to visit or is interesting to you, or just a random place, and do the assignment again. But most of you did an outstanding job on that, so thank you for putting that work in and doing that. So that's about it. That's all I want to go over this time. As we go forward, we might add a few little tools to our toolbox as we're working with Google Earth, and I may have you do a little bit different stuff. But for these first couple of assignments, we're going to keep it pretty basic, and I just want you to learn a little bit about the world. So that's it for tonight. As always, any questions or issues, please let me know, and I will get back with you as soon as possible. Thank you.